Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing it. We are talking about money. I am so excited to be filming this video for you guys. Spoiler alert, it is the first of 3 videos that I'm gonna have in this little finance series. So if you're not subscribed already, hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss the other ones. And if you do happen to be watching these videos once the other videos are live, I'm gonna eventually link them down below in the description box. But anyway, the reason why I'm gonna start off the series by talking about our expenses, and when I say expenses, I mean fixed expenses, meaning like your mortgage, your car payment, your light, electricity, like things that you're gonna get a bill for every month that you have no real ability to say, hey, you know what, this month I'm not gonna pay that because otherwise your lights are gonna shut off. So that's what I mean by fixed expenses. And so the reason why I think it's important to talk about that is because your fixed expenses, what that looks like, it's gonna determine down the road how much money you have left to play around with in your budget for things like groceries and buying yourself new clothes or whatever it is that you end up wanting to do with your budget. So this is always step number 1 for Joe and I, my husband. And if you guys are new here, by the way, I don't even think I introduced myself. So my name is Kayla. I am a mom to 2 kids. So we are a family of 4. I am 30 years old. My husband is 37. My kids are 3 and 1. So that is what our household dynamic looks like. So this is a step that honestly for me, I feel like it's so important because I feel like a lot of people know what their paychecks look like. For the most part, if I asked you hey, how much money do you make? Or hey, how much money do you get in every paycheck? You can kind of give me a good idea of what that looks like. But do you really know how much money is going away every month for those fixed expenses? And you might know the big ones, but I know for me personally, I didn't realize how much even the little things added up to, the Hulu subscriptions, the Netflix subscriptions, and the little charges that I get from Apple for I don't know, I think I have a storage, extra storage or something, $1.99 here plus $3.99 there, all of Riley's little Peppa Pig apps. Eventually that starts adding up. So I always feel it's a really good idea to know what that number looks like. So what we do is we make a spreadsheet, and I'm gonna pull up my computer now so I can go down the list and share with you all of our expenses. But if you get anything out of this video, what I want you to take away from this video is that you need to have a spreadsheet somewhere, or I don't care if you do it by hand, if you just want to add everything up on a piece of paper, whatever, you need to know what your fixed expenses look like. Because at the end of the day, at least the way that we do our finances, you're gonna need that fixed expenses number in order to know how much money you have to play around with, and then you can budget that money better. So the way that we do things is we take our income, whatever it is that Joe and I make, we subtract our fixed expenses, like the mortgage, the car payment, all of those things that regardless of what we do, those things are gonna hit every month, and then we're left with a number, and that's what we call our variable money. And then the variable money that we have, that's what we then put into our different categories, and that's what we're gonna go over in the next video. So let's hop into it. I've got my computer here. I'm gonna find my spreadsheet. I am gonna preface this, number 1, by saying that I'm not a finance expert, okay? So take this with a grain of salt. All I ever do is share what we do as a family and what works for us. This may not work for everybody, and everybody's situation is different. The other thing I do wanna say is that I know that money is a very personal thing, and it's one of the reasons why I have been really hesitant to put these videos out, because I know that right now too, the world is not in the best place right now and people are struggling. I'm not ignorant to that. So yes, I understand that you may look at some of my expenses and everyone's gonna have an opinion about it, and some people may be like, well, why are you paying for that? Or I know that it's a personal thing and there's judgment to be had. These are things that we do as a family, and everyone's money situation is different. But the reason why I decided to finally make this video for you guys is because regardless of what your situation is, regardless of how much money you're making right now or how much money you're not making right now, I don't care if you're making $5 a week or you're making $100,000 a week. If you're not properly managing your money and tracking your money and knowing what comes in and knowing what goes out, chances are you're not going to be in a very good place. So I think it's just so empowering to know what your money situation is. And there's just a lot of people that for whatever reason, we didn't learn a lot of this stuff in school, right? We learned a lot of useless stuff, but not some of the real life important things. So I hope that this just inspires you to do that, to just open up a spreadsheet, open up Excel, and somehow track what's coming in, what's going out. And then even in the next video, we'll get into more specifics about actually tracking the things that you have a little bit more control over. but I hope that this is helpful. With that being said, like if you're gonna be nasty, just don't even bother. Don't even bother leaving a comment. It's gonna be deleted in 2 seconds. So I don't have any time for that. I'm literally here to help, to be positive, and to just talk about money. But if you're gonna be, you know, just mean, then I just don't have any patience for that. All right, so I've got my spreadsheet open here. The way that I do my spreadsheet is very simple. There's nothing fancy. I don't use fancy fonts. I don't do anything crazy. I literally just list what the expense is. Sometimes I will list like what day it's due. I don't know. I think that's more for Joe than for me. And then right next to it, I have the dollar amount. And then at the very end, I do one of those little summation things and I get the total amount. But it's very simple. You don't have to make it super complicated or super fancy. The other thing I do with my spreadsheet is I list things in order of like most important at the top, and then the not so important things all the way at the bottom. And the reason that I do that is because if I ever get to a point where, you know, we're tight on money or we're looking to cut costs, we're looking to cut some of our expenses so that we have more money to do other things, I can at a glance look at my spreadsheet and I can say, okay, the most important thing is our mortgage. Can't get rid of our mortgage, but maybe towards the bottom I see some of these like subscriptions. I see, you know, Riley's Peppa Pig app, which I'll share with you guys later down the road, but it's like $4.99 a month. So can I do away with that app if I need to? Of course. Whereas some of the other things like our phone bill, gas, power, you know, those are things that we're gonna kind of need. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I hope that you're still with me. I hope that you're still following. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to leave them down below. So I don't think that I've mentioned it yet, but Joe and I, we live in Virginia, okay? And we used to live in Miami, now we live in Virginia. And it's fascinating to me really just like how different things cost different amounts of money depending on where you live. I think that one of the biggest things that changes your expenses and stuff is where you live. Like things are a lot more expensive in certain places. So I just wanted you to have that information when I'm giving you these numbers. So let's start at the top. So our mortgage, I've shared with you guys how much I paid for my house. I don't remember. I think it was 3 something that we paid for this house. But our monthly mortgage payment, which is the biggest chunk of our fixed expenses, is $1,750.34. That is just automatically taken out of our bank account every month, but that is what we pay for our mortgage. Just to give you a little bit of background on our house is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, or I don't know if they consider like the 3rd bathroom like an actual bathroom, but I'm not sure what the square footage is on this house. But for us, I'm very comfortable in this house. I love this house, and even more than just the house itself, I do love the fact that we're paying less in our monthly payment for this house than we did when we were living down in Miami. So that was one of the big things that we looked for when we were buying a house. We wanted to make sure that we were like paying less or at least equal to what we were paying down there. So yes, we stuck to a house that was a little bit on the lower end of our price range. We definitely could have gotten a house that was much more expensive, but we wanted to make sure that we weren't spending too much of, you know, our budget in like just our mortgage. So for us, that's, you know, what ended up working for us. Other things that are big on this list are our power bill. So our power bill, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same every month or if it changes a little bit. I have to ask Joe because some of those things he kind of looks at a little bit more. But right here on my spreadsheet, I have that's $165 a month. We also have to pay for gas, which is $38.55. And then we have our water and sewer bill, which is also every month, and that's $79.03. So those are like the big ones having to do with the house. Then we have our internet. So we use internet all the time. I feel like these days that's like an expense that most people have, and that is $74.99. We have Verizon Fios, I don't know how you say that. You know, Joe set it up because it's supposed to be a very fast internet. I'm very happy with my internet service, like knock on wood that it doesn't go down on me anytime soon, but we do have super fast internet and we pay, I'm pretty sure, a good penny for that. But for us, it's a very worthwhile expense given that I'm always making videos and uploading them and all of that. We also have like our alarm for the house. We pay $24.99 for that. We use Simply Safe and we love it. So then we have our cell phone bill. I'm pretty sure that this spreadsheet is as up to date as it can be. Again, things change, and that's why it's a good idea to every like month or two, you know, every couple of months, look at your spreadsheet, because sometimes bills change, sometimes you end up adding a service, sometimes you take away a service. Like once upon a time ago, we didn't pay for our lawn mowing service that I haven't gotten to yet. And then we added that on, so we had to make sure that that was on our spreadsheet. Right now, we're also looking for somebody to come clean our house every couple months. So once we add that on, we want to make sure that we put that in our spreadsheet. But anyway, we have our cell phone bill, and right now I have here, first of all, we do pay for Joe's mom's cell phone bill. So it's kind of like 3 different lines that we pay for. And Joe's phone is separate, so I think he pays like $69 for it. We've got AT&T, and then for Joe's mom and myself, we pay $98 total for the two of us. So I don't know if that's good, I don't know if it's bad, but that's what we pay for that. Then we have my car loan. So I've mentioned it before that when we moved up here to Virginia, we bought a GMC Acadia, and I think at the time we put like $10,000 down on the car. First of all, it was a used car. It was like a couple years old. It wasn't brand new, but we put $10,000 on the car, and then we financed the rest. And the $10,000 came from like me selling my old car. So we got some money off of my old Jetta, and then we put that money towards like a down payment for the car. But regardless, we financed the car, I think for 5 years. We still had a monthly payment, and the monthly payment is $331.41. So every month, you know, that's just a bill that we have to pay. Then we have my P.O. box. So I do have a P.O. box here, and that is, I think it's an annual payment, but it comes out to about like $18.84 every month. Then we have our food meat service. I've mentioned it before, but we do this meat service where it's like local farmers, they bring meat to our house every 6 months, and then we pay monthly for it. So twice a year they come, they fill up our freezer downstairs in our basement with a bunch of meat, and then we just like pay it every month. So we pay $244.10 for that meat every month. I know it's a lot of money. It's just something that we felt really passionate about, and it's just like all organic stuff. We're super happy with it. It works for us. Like I said, it's not something that everybody has to do. So that $244.10, that's just for our meat every month. And then I have a separate budget that we'll talk about tomorrow, which is for like the rest of our groceries. So the next thing I have here is our vehicle insurance. We pay $115 for my car and Joe's truck. So for 2 cars, we pay $115 every month. Then my husband has a parking pass at work, which is like $42.96. We also pay for Orkin for them to service our house. So that's like the pest control and all of that. I think it's $56 a month. Then we have some association fees. So we have 2 association fees. The total of the 2 of them together is $88 every month. I think we end up paying them quarterly, but whenever we have something that we pay like quarterly or yearly, what we like to do is we figure out, like, let's say it's $1,200 every year. We'll say $1,200 divided by 12 months a year. That comes out to $100 every month. So that's the way we kind of factor it into our budget, so that we're not like stuck like having to come up with all this money every quarter or every year. We've got that. Then we do send a little bit of money to family. So we've got $200 that we send out every month. Then we have our lawn mowing, which is $110 every, it can't be every month. Is that every month? It might be every month because I think they come twice a month. So it's like $55 maybe every time that they come. It's like a lot of money, but whatever. But it is like worth it because Joe was like having to go out to our backyard every couple weekends, and like he'd spend a few hours mowing the lawn with like this clunky old lawnmower that we found. Like one of his coworkers had gifted it to him. So yes, it's money that we don't have to be spending, but the time that we got back, like the time that Joe got back and not having to do it, it was worth it, and we could fit it into our budget. So that was something that we did. Then there's something here, and again, all of this stuff I don't always know about, but there's something here with some water sensor that we pay, and I think it's like $5 a month. Then we have some stuff that is just like, I don't know, it's absolutely not necessary, but they're things that we pay for. So again, leave the judgment to yourself inside your brain. You don't need to comment about it. It's just stuff that we do. And like I said before, this is the stuff that starts to get like less important as we go. And like if we ever had to reduce our expenses and stop spending as much as we do now, then we could totally like cut some of these things, cancel some of these subscriptions, and then we'd have a little bit more money to work with. So Joe got into something called Drift Scents. I don't know if anybody has heard about it, but they're like car air fresheners, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but they smell delicious. Like they smell so good. So every month they send him this like little air freshener you put in your car, and it's $16 a month. And I think I want to say it brings at least 2, because if he pays $16 for one of them, that's insane. I think it brings one for his car and one for my car, but they're really good. So he has that. We pay $10 a month for our Dollar Shave Club. We love Dollar Shave Club. That's $10 a month for both him and I. We each get new sets of razor heads, and we have so many razor heads. Like I could probably switch out my razor head like every 2 days. We've loved that service. And then Joe subscribes to something called Dynamis Alliance. I think that's like his workout thing that he does. It's like, I don't know, workout program, and I'm pretty sure he pays for it like twice a year. So it comes out to like $8.34 every month. Then we have our Onstar subscription for the car. I think the Lord, I've never had to use it, but it's there in case we need to. So that's $34.99 a month. I do still have, this is like the sore, like one of the biggest like annoying things in my life right now. I pay $50 a month for Massage Envy. I've had a Massage Envy subscription for years, and I am the worst at actually going and getting a massage because things come up. I had 2 little kids. It was always hard to find time to go. And then when I wanted to start going again, then the pandemic hit, they shut down, they weren't doing massages and stuff. But the way that a Massage Envy subscription works is you're paying the $50 a month. I think now it's probably higher because I got like a $50 rate because I started like so many years ago. But anyway, you pay for it anyway, whether you use it or you don't, and then you just accumulate these like little points, you know, of how many massages you can go and get. I'm pretty sure that in my account I probably have like 30 massages that I can use, and I'm dying to just like cancel it. But then the problem is that I have to then use whatever number of massages that I have left in my account, like within, I don't know, 2 weeks or something like that. So eventually it'll probably get to the point where I just like, I've lost all this money on this freaking subscription. Do not recommend it. I totally, you know, screwed myself over in this. But at some point I will just go like every single day for like 3 months straight and get a massage, and then eventually cancel my membership. But for now, I'm paying freaking $50 a month for that. And then I have our Ritual vitamins, and this is $30 a month, and I want to say that it's for both Joe and I. I'm pretty sure that our subscription is still for both Joe and I. Joe loves the Ritual vitamins. They're the ones that I take too. I have worked with them here on my channel before where they've like gifted me the free vitamins, but then on top of that, like we went on our own and we started buying them because we love them. So we've got some of that stuff that's just like random. And then we move on to like our TV stuff, like how we watch TV. So we used to have DirecTV back in the day, and then it was like a ridiculous amount of money, and so we ended up canceling that traditional like cable provider service, whatever. And then we've tried like a bunch of other things. We tried like the Hulu, I don't know what they even call it, like Hulu TV or Hulu Premium TV, I don't know. We tried that for a while. I think that eventually got even more expensive. So what we're using now is the YouTube Premium. Honestly, that's what we use, and that's how we see like our TV stuff. We pay $73.99 for YouTube TV, and then we have also like HBO Max, which is $14.99 a month. Then we have Disney Plus, which, you know, when you have kids, that was something that we wanted to get, so that's $7.92 a month. And then we have Netflix, which is $17.28 a month, and then we have Hulu, which is $13.60 a month. And then on top of that, we have YouTube Premium, so that way I can watch YouTube without any ads and all of that, and we pay $17.99 a month for that. So when you add those all up, I'm pretty sure it's more expensive even than freaking just the regular cable. But those are all things that, you know, if tomorrow we wanted to say, you know what, we don't need HBO Max, we can just cut that out. If we decide, you know what, Netflix is just not doing it for us, we can get rid of that. But what we didn't like is like having to pay for a bunch of channels that we just weren't watching, and that's definitely what we were doing with DirecTV. And I feel like these TV providers, like to watch TV, like in a few years, it's really just gonna be like you pay for exactly like the channels that you want to see. Like I think even Discovery Plus is coming out or something like that. Like I think TLC and all the cooking shows and all of that are like bundling up, and then you have to pay like $4.99 a month to stream those shows. So I don't know. The TV world is very strange these days, but that is what we pay for all of that entertainment. Other things that we pay for is we have like an Experian credit monitoring thing, and that's like $12.95 for them to monitor, I guess, our credit, make sure that there's no one stealing our stuff. We pay $9.99 a month for Adobe, because I use Adobe like Lightroom and not Photoshop, but I think I have access to Photoshop too. So for some of my YouTube stuff, I pay $9.99 a month for that. And honestly, I need to like switch that because that's more for my business, and I have like my business expenses that I keep separately. So honestly, I should probably remove that and put that in my business stuff. Then we pay $16.67 a month for Ancestry, and Joe's into that. Joe's into genealogy, so that's just something that is like a hobby for him, so that has a monthly payment. Then we have Amazon Free Time, which I think is something for Riley's old Fire tablet, and I don't know if we even need it, but it's $2.99 a month. We pay for the PlayStation Network for Joe, obviously, because when the heck do I play PlayStation? That's $5 a month. We have Microsoft Office 365 on here, which is, I guess, to use like Microsoft Word and Excel and to look at the spreadsheet. So we pay $5.84 a month for that. Then we have the Kindle Unlimited. I guess that's for books or something. Again, this is why you need to be monitoring your spreadsheet to make sure you're not paying for stuff that you don't use. But that's $9.99 a month. We have Audible also, which is $14.95 a month, which we do get some use out of Audible. Like we just finished listening to an audiobook on potty training Riley, so that was helpful. So we do every once in a while listen to the audiobooks. Joe really liked them back in the day when he was driving to work. Like on his commute, he would listen to books. Now that he works from home, he doesn't have that commute anymore. But Audible is a good one. And then we have Microsoft Game Pass. What the heck is that? I don't know. Do your husbands have Microsoft Game Pass? If they do, it's probably $9.99 a month. Also, Joe has some other thing here to play games called Shadow Tech. No idea what it is, but it's $30 a month. But if you have a gamer husband, somebody who likes that, those little fees, just so you know, they add up. So the rest of the stuff that I'm gonna talk to you about are like these stupid apps. These stupid apps that we pay money for. So we have Calm. We have the Calm app. It's $5.84 a month here, apparently. We have Apple TV Plus, which is, I think, to watch some of those shows that I have never watched before, like the specific Apple shows, I don't know, but it's $4.99 a month. We have the app that we use, which I swear by and get the most use out of, and that's Good Budget, which is the one that I use to track our finances, and I'm going to talk to you guys about it in the next video. But that one I pay $4.17 a month for. Joe also purchased the Carrot Weather app, which is, I guess, just to, I don't know, I think you get alerts about if it's gonna rain. Like, I could probably just go outside and see if it's raining, but whatever. He wanted the friggin' Carrot Weather app, and that one is $2.09 a month. Then we have a password manager that we pay for so that we can like make good passwords and all of that, and that one is $3.99 a month. This one is out of place here because this should be up where the TV stuff is, but we have Stars that we pay for. That's $8.99 a month. We also have Apple Music, and that is $9.99. We have Apple News, which is also $9.99. We have Apple Arcade to play games, and that one is $4.99. Then there's an app here, which is really more for me, for my business, that should be taken out. But I use an app called UNUM, which is like to plan my Instagram photos and stuff. That one is $6.99 a month. We have the Peppa Pig app, which is $4.99 a month. Then we have the Beamy Boo Learning Academy, which is the other app that we love for Riley. She gets so much use out of that. So it is $6.99 a month, but it is well worth it. She has learned so much from just playing those games. They're very educational, highly recommend them. And then we have Noggin, which, I don't know, Noggin is another one of those things that Riley can look at on her tablet, I think. Joe is the one that subscribed to this one. This one is $7.99 a month. Then we have like these Apple storage things, like to the cloud, to the iCloud. So you have a bigger cloud, I guess. So Joe has a plan that's like $9.99 a month. His mom has one also that is like $1 a month. I also have one that's $9.99 a month. And then I also pay for an app called Daily Devotions, which is like just these Bible verses that you read every day. And I think I paid extra so that I have like, I don't know, more stuff that I can dive into, and that one is $4.99 a month. So that is everything on my spreadsheet, and I'm winded just from going down that list. The total amount of our fixed expenses, things that are bills or things that we're going to be charged for, that is $4,032.65. Those are our fixed expenses. So I know that a lot of this stuff is probably stuff that is not necessary. Some of this stuff, if need be, could totally be cut. But these are things that we've chosen to add into our lifestyle or whatever, and that's what we are responsible for paying every month. So now that we have that $4,032.65 figure, that is the amount of our fixed expenses. So let's say, hypothetically, that Joe and I made $10,000 every month combined. Let's just say that that was the number, just to make it nice and simple. If Joe and I made $10,000 every month, then what we would do is we would subtract our fixed expenses from that. So I'd say $10,000 minus $4,032.65, and that would leave us with $5,967.35 to play with for the rest of our budget. So I hope that that makes sense. So you have the money you bring in minus your fixed expenses, the things that you don't have a ton of control over. That gives you your variable income, which is the stuff that then you can decide, you know, we've got an extra amount of money, how do we want to spend this money? Obviously, we've already decided how we want to spend the $4,032.65. We've allocated that already. So what are we gonna do with the rest of it? And that's where your budget's gonna come in. That's where things like groceries come in. That's where you get to decide if you're gonna have money for a date night, if you're gonna have money to be eating out or going to Starbucks. Like, that's when you start making those decisions, because that you do have some control over. If you don't have as much money to work with that month, you can say, okay, you know what, this month there's not that much money for Starbucks, so let's cut that. Or this month, you know what, we don't have as much coming in, so our grocery budget has to be super tight. That's where like that comes into play. So I hope that that gives you a good idea of like where to start, I guess. Again, I 1000% understand that not everyone's fixed expenses are gonna be $4,000. Depending on how much money you bring in, that determines like your lifestyle and what kind of house you end up buying and what your mortgage looks like, and then what other things you decide to purchase. You may not have a car, you may have 3 cars. I mean, again, everybody's situation is different. But the most basic thing to understand is like, if you're making $2,000 a month, if that's what's coming in, then your expenses should not be $3,000 a month. The goal is always to like live within your means or live under your means, so that way you have extra money for savings and all of that. But that's all stuff that we are going to cover tomorrow. So that is gonna be it for this video. That's what I wanted to show you guys in terms of your fixed expenses. If anything, like I said, I hope that this inspires you to go hunt down your bills, go online, log into all of your accounts, figure out what the heck you are paying for, because I assure you that there's probably gonna be at least one thing on your bank statement that you see and you're like, what the heck is this? Why am I paying $2 for this? Why am I paying $5 for this? What is it? Have I used it in the last 6 months? Can I cancel it? Because that's the other thing that I think is important to note. When you're trying to have more money to spend on things like your groceries, or having more money to do fun stuff, or even just like paying off debt or building a savings account, there's only 2 ways to do that. So the first way would be to make more money. The first way is to get a second job, get a job that pays more money. Maybe if you're not working as a stay-at-home mom, maybe you go back to work, you bring in more income. If you're bringing in more money, then obviously you have more money in your budget. The second way to add more money into your budget is to decrease those fixed expenses. So to cut some of those things that you're paying monthly for. Maybe you're paying $600 a month for a super fancy car. Maybe you cut that in half and you get not such a fancy car and you get a used car and you're paying $200 a month. That means you have more money for other things. A lot of times other things that you can do is stuff like, you know, cutting your cable or looking for other alternatives to cable, or even freaking calling DirecTV and telling them, you know what, I'm gonna cancel, and see if you can negotiate with them, see if they'll bring down your rate. Like, every penny counts, and I think those are the kinds of things that you should probably be thinking about. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you got something from this. I promise you that if you do this exercise of just figuring out what your fixed expenses are, it's gonna help you so much when we tackle our budget, when we tackle figuring out how to allocate different categories and all of that. So try to do it. Try to sit down with your partner if you have a partner. See if you're able to just get a hold on those bills, those monthly recurring things, the things that are considered your fixed expenses. So I love you guys. Any questions, leave them down below. We will talk in video number 2. But thank you for being here. I love you to pieces, and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.